It's extra time. Evening. It's Thursday. It's a little bit after 9 o'clock as per usual. I'm a little running a bit late this evening. That's all on me. Yes, I know you boys. Yes, all right. I know. And here we are with the Premier League show. We've got Ronan, Crazy Boom. How you doing, Chief?
I'm good, as always.
Good. And we're joined by Matty Smith to 99. Thanks for joining the show, buddy. How you doing?
Yeah, good, man. Thank you very much for having me on. I'm very excited to be here.
Can't wait to delve into how you're feeling about the early couple of games, mate. Can't wait, because I know you've probably got some thoughts and some stuff like that. So, where are we? Where do we want to start? Where do we want to start this week? I mean, I know it's week 2. A couple of the teams got back to winning ways. A couple of the teams didn't. A couple of the teams have been up and down. I mean, where do you want to start, Crazy?
Yeah, I think we get the easy one out of the Friday game. It went exactly as I thought it would be, with Forest just about beating.
Just about enough. Yeah. Although, interesting enough, it ended up being Chris Woods, even though we may have mentioned Chris Woods in slightly less.
I may have a bad view of Chris Wood.
He may have heard you. Maybe that's why he turned up and scored in the 80s.
He used it as inspiration. Yeah, that's what it was. You spurred him on to be a better footballer.
That's all it needed.
It's keeping my prediction of Sheffield United going straight back down.
That is true. That does look like the strongest one out of all of our predictions
and
so far.
And it sadly does not get better for them, because I believe they play Man City.
Oh.
Next,
where are we? Forest. Am I blind?
Oh, no. Forest are up at you guys.
I'm talking Sheffield.
Oh, you're talking Sheffield United, aren't you?
They go straight down.
They do indeed. Yeah, they are playing on Sunday against Manchester City. That does not get much easier. Jesus Christ.
Doesn't get easy for those guys. It's a baptism of fire for them. Welcome back to the big time. And then we delved into Saturday's games, and therefore some shocks. Did we think any shocks on any of those? I mean, Brentford look pretty solid. They're not missing Ivan Toney in any way, stretch or form, are they, at the moment?
You'd have to say a shock is like Newcastle not really showing too much against Man City. They just kind of sat back for most of that game.
It's almost like they didn't want to get battered, was the game plan for Newcastle, it felt like.
Yeah, I think, I mean, I say it's probably fairly impressive. I guess I know they didn't really show much in that game, and I was pretty disappointed. I guess both from like a fantasy point of view, I thought Tonali was going to get me loads of points. I thought he was going to really show up, but I mean, none of the team really did. But to only lose to City 1-0 when you're not actually playing that well, I think that's relatively good. Like, I think 99% of teams in the Premier League would take that.
It also comes down to the argument that if they did push a bit more, they might have The City were under par in that game themselves.
Yeah, City seemed a bit off the ball. They probably, if Newcastle had given it a bit more, do you think it might have been there for the taking? Or, after their Wednesday exertions and, the excuses had already been laid out by Pep, hadn't they?
I mean, they've got 2 wins, but they do seem to be off to like a bit of a slow start. Like, obviously, I'm not worried about them. Like, it's Pep and City, and they've not been playing great and still been winning. So, like, it's fine. But I also am kind of worried. Like, I feel like if they maybe don't pick it up, could they maybe slip into like some complacency? Are they just having a hangover from winning the treble last season? Which is,
although we have the interesting scenario of no Pep for the next few games because he's
that's an interesting one. He's done it. Well, not done his back, but he's had a back surgery to fix something, and his assistant's in. But although looking at it, the next 2 games that he's not in charge for aren't exactly ones you expect to stretch the squad by very much, are they?
Sheffield United and Fulham. I mean, Fulham also haven't looked great this season. Yeah, fair.
That's 2 games. If you're going to take 2 games off, right, you're going to go right.
That's probably why Pep's scheduling my surgery till now.
Wait until 2 weeks in. Let's get all that out of the way. Then we can do that. Yeah, do the Super Cup, and then I'll just stay in Barcelona or something.
He just wanted a bit more of a holiday after what a stressful season last season was. I think
after getting a parking ticket at one point, he just needed.
needed to just go away. Yeah.
He's had a tough crack of it as Pep, I think.
Poor guy, poor lad.
I guess just like speaking of like Saturday's action, it'd probably be nice to quickly touch on your team, Gary. I suppose. What do you think of McAllister's red card? I know it's since been turned over, right? I think it's been
rescinded. It's been taken away.
Yeah.
It's been overturned. It's another one of those. Alex not available, unfortunately. Otherwise, we'd go to our VAR specialist. But where's the VAR? Yeah, exactly. We'll bring that up. I mean, I think we had it, but it's another one of those. It looked, and I can see initially high foot, and I think the Mike Dean post bit was also even worse. His comment of it was shin high, but I mean, if the guy was standing, yes, it would have been a shin high nasty tackle and a red card. But the other player also had his foot at the exact same height as McAllister.
Yeah.
It was one of those clean. They both went for the ball. The Bournemouth guy.
I will also comment on the game. It also looked like a bit of a soft penalty for Sabaz.
From
what I saw from the play.
I mean,
I can see them given, but it was soft in a way.
It was certainly, he made sure the referee was aware of the contact, I think. But then,
that's one way of putting it. Yeah.
Which professional in this day and age would not feel a knock on their leg and go, "I'm inside the box. I'm going to ensure that the referee is aware that there has been a foul." Let's be honest. They're all doing it, and I mean, a shocking start from us. We should have been 2-0 down. We got very lucky in the early offside decision. That we could have been 1-0 down in the first minute. I mean,
Trent didn't have a good start.
No, it did not. Again, much like you say, Matty, the slow start and whatever else. I thought against Chelsea we were great in the first half and just nothing in the second. And then this time didn't seem to start very well, which is weird. And first game at home, you'd think we'd be really up for it. But
yeah, of all the games you'd be up for, you'd imagine first one at home.
First 5 minutes at Anfield, you're going to be rocking on, and then they almost silenced the crowd at Anfield in that first 5-6 minutes. Obviously, near enough scoring, and then getting a goal 6 minutes, 7 minutes in, it was pretty shocking. And then, yes, we got the win and we looked, comfortable in the end, even with the red card, which wasn't. But, Salah.
Well, one comment, does Salah get taken off pens? Would you take him off pens? He's missed his last few pens.
Is he missed? I mean, the interesting one is that second time Neto saved a penalty from Salah. I'm down with if the goalkeeper saves it, it's a save. It's not a missed pen. But, you got to. There's a difference between if you sky it over the bar or if you the keeper guesses right or works you out and saves it.
On a few occasions last season, he put it wide against.
Yeah, there was a couple, and he went for the very deliberate. I'm going to go top left corner, and often we see those never go right. But this one didn't seem a stronger penalty. He kind of just decided to almost lash it just sort of slightly left of centre, and got away with it. Great, we managed to get the win. Seal it with a 3-1 at the end, which. Probably a fair result, but I think, does he come off penalties? No. Who else do we get on penalties?
I would argue that maybe the next time you play Bournemouth, don't let him take a penalty if Neto saved twice.
Yeah. Give it to somebody else against Bournemouth and in the return fixture, absolutely. But I wouldn't take him off penalties just because there's been maybe he's getting worked out because do we get too many penalties? Or there's another one for the VAR specialist.
Oh, here we go.
and then you had the whole today all the rumors of the Saudis and Salah come back.
Yeah, I mean, and then I think
very much convince him.
Very much convince him, and then the agent came back out and said, we wouldn't have signed the extension if we were planning on going anywhere. And I think the club have come out and said it doesn't matter how much money they throw at us, we're not letting him go. Which could be could be a little bit of it. I mean, let's be honest, money talks in this game, and we know that even if you say it doesn't matter how much money you send, we're not going to sell him.
Every player has a price.
Every club has a price, and especially
I used
with
to think
the
it wasn't the case,
and
and then that Neymar to PSG deal went through, and I feel just ever since that, I'm do you know what? Money just does not matter. You will be able to buy someone out of anywhere.
They can tell you how much they love your club and the badge. Eventually, there's a price tag.
Someone will come along and go, "Hey, 115 million. Do you want to come and play? Do you want to come and warm the bench at Stamford Bridge, Moses?" "Oh yeah, okay. I love Chelsea."
All right, settle down.
We're going to get there. Don't worry, it's coming. It's coming.
Oh, I know.
So I suppose it's not a shock. Is that what you're saying? This Tottenham result is not a shock to you then?
Oh, we're going straight into the.
We're delving straight into the big ones. Yep, going in.
For me, it was very much the Spurs game. Very much played from my perspective like it did last year, except for the only difference is United didn't score 2 goals. Yep. Didn't score 2 goals like they did last time in the first half, because United did have the better of the chances in the first half. Like Bruno missed a sitter. The only thing Spurs really did was hit the post like twice at the end, which terrified me. And then that it was set a precedence for the second half. Their quick fire post at the end, and questionable if we had the ref guy. Questionable handball.
The Romero handball.
That's what I'm saying. Questionable. We need another more opinion on that, because I've seen different arguments about it. That's why I use the word questionable.
Is somebody making notes for all the things we need to check with Alec? I feel like my guy's gonna have some homework to do.
I think Alec, that's why he's not here. He's like, oh god,
that's why he sacked it in.
He sacked it off.
No, literally, when we added him about these decisions, he goes like, "I'm not going to be here this week," and then suddenly he's not here. I'm just saying.
Yeah. He's had a word. He's like, right, listen, lads, I'm not there to deal with it. Just give whatever controversial thing you want.
Just get them all out of the way this week. When I come back the next week, it'll be like nothing to talk about. Yeah, we'll bring it back.
Then Spurs were just the better team overall in the second half. There's nothing United did. It was just a very poor second half.
I think also
we made the wrong changes as well, Ten Hag, in that second half.
I think to be fair, I know Man United haven't been great. I think that you guys are fairly, I guess, lucky to get the win against Wolves. And I think obviously Spurs ended up winning. I think I just want to give some credit where it's due to Big Ange. I'm not gonna lie, I was that guy that thought he's come over from Scotland. He's their seventh
manager in 6 years.
Fairness, he's done pretty good in those 2 games. He narrowly dropped points against Brentford. That could have gone either way, and then this game he proved it at home.
But I also just think the job that he's doing, I think, is worthy of talking about. I think he's got this Spurs team playing a brand of attacking football after a good couple of years of managers like Conte and Mourinho, who I love them, but
no Kane anymore.
Yeah, silky attacking football isn't their thing. They've lost their star player, and yet they're still looking really, really good. And it is going to be entertaining football, and it's going to be probably the kind of season where Liverpool made it to the Champions League final but didn't win it. They'll just try and outscore you. That kind of seems like they're gonna let in goals. That just seems like the philosophy they've adopted. But I just fair play, Ange. I think at the moment he's doing a good job there.
I think so. I think you're right. And he has changed the philosophy, the mindset, whatever you want to say, of those players. I think what he's come out in the press and said, we knew Harry was going from a while ago, and they've been planning for it, shows, and the fact that the team doesn't look like they've just walked out the street or out of the changing room going, oh, shit, where's Harry? They know that he was not going to be part of the squad, and they've worked on they've worked on the way they wanted to approach games, and it's showing. They're getting goals from unusual sources, and they're getting, they're going to have to do that. They're going to have to find goals from all over the place, because that's a lot of goals that they've just let go to Germany. And fair play to Harry, he's already hit the ground running and scoring and setting up goals already. So the quality that we know that Harry Kane has is on show in Germany now. So Spurs are going to have to find goals from other places, but at the moment it seems like they've got a fair few people putting their hands up for it.
I'll say one last thing in the United perspective, from a United fan. I'm not panicking, because this time last year we lost both our opening games.
That's true. There's no need to panic in week 2, is there? Unless you're...
Apart from our clickbaiting thumbnail that says, "Are United and Chelsea in trouble?"
Yeah, but come on, we got to get people to watch the show, man.
That's what I'm saying. But I got to address the topic of the
short answer is no. They're fine, but
they're fine. Honestly, it'll all come out in a wash.
We'll say that in a very roundabout way. Yeah.
Come and watch and listen. Come and watch the show and let us know. Brighton, absolutely flying.
Another 4 goals from Brighton.
Another 4 goals.
They sell players and somehow get better each time, and I'm like, how?
It's madness, isn't it? What they're doing there, and what De Zerbi is doing in that club. It's like Chelsea are just rinsing them dry for every player that they've got.
And this is where somehow, and their goal scorers from the first game they kept on the bench in this one.
Yeah, it was like you've done really well in game 1. You're sitting it out.
I've genuinely come to realise that Chelsea and Brighton are actually just polar opposite clubs. We just keep spending money and get worse, and then Brighton just keep making money and getting better. We are literally as polar opposite as it could possibly get. They've got to be the best run club in Probably potentially England, I would say.
They have to have the best recruitment in the entire world.
Yeah, I mean they're the Southampton of Southampton 4, 5, 6 years ago, maybe even a bit longer. They had this similar thing where they found these players. Yes, Liverpool came along and literally took the Southampton team and bought all of them. It's almost rinse and repeat. They've taken that model a bit further along the South Coast, but slightly tweaked it with where they're getting their players in from. But yeah, that club is run really well. They're finding new players to fill the gaps of the ones that they're selling for the massive profits. And as you say, Matty, Chelsea 100 and whatever it was for Fernandes, 115 for Caicedo, didn't have the best game against West Ham.
All right, listen.
We'll get to West Ham in a bit.
Yeah,
we'll talk about this one, and the unfortunate one of Enciso getting injured is another one on the injury list.
Another injury list in our physio room segment that we'll get to towards the end of the show, where we just list everybody who's injured already. It's been brutal.
Because that's most of the Chelsea squad, isn't it? Bloody hell!
It's brutal at the moment how many players are actually on the physio room, if you like.
Yeah, the start to this season seems to be a bit feral. Like everyone's just going down. Like we are just going to be playing like under 21s by like week 18 or something. Like there's just going to be nobody left.
We'll play one aside. We'll just pick one player to go against another player. Just kick about.
Just maybe that's the only safest way. Yeah.
I like it. Why not? I mean, let's try something different. Spice up the league a little bit.
Yeah, because we're trying everything else, right? So at the moment, Bournemouth have 7 players on their, in the injury. Aston Villa have got 7 as well, so that's a fair few. But Chelsea, 10 already.
I was going to say, I know we had at least 9. Like, I'm not being funny. We need to have a serious chat about whatever we're doing in our medical department because I swear, like other teams have like injury crises, but kind of get over them. Ours is just one rolling like injury. I swear we just never have a fully fit squad.
Especially like, James. James comes back and gets injured again each
time. He scares me, man. Because I think in ability terms, I genuinely, without a shadow of a doubt, think he's the best right back in the world. But I'm just so scared that his body's not going to be able to do it, and it's going to be so sad. But like these injuries are starting to get a bit worrying now.
Okay, before we move on, one sentence on Wolves. What do we guys think of them?
I think they'll. I don't know. I want to say they'll come good, but they've got no money. They can't spend anything. They're in a bad situation. O'Neill's had very little chance to do anything with that squad. Yes, they maybe felt.
And the guy who got a red card is apparently going to Man City potentially.
Yeah, because they put a bid in for Nunes, wasn't it as well? Yeah. So it
was a stupid red card that he got too for that second yellow. Just pushed. Your man over.
It was just one of those brain fart moments where you're just like, "What are you doing? Do you
because
not?"
Because he got one for a yellow card for time wasting like 10 minutes before that.
Yeah, it's not really when you're in that situation. That's not what you need from a professional, is it? But yeah, I don't know. Wolves. I did say that they were. I think I said one of the early predictions they were going to be there and thereabouts because money wise they don't have anything. They've got no way of strengthening their squad at the moment. So I think they're right up against their FFP.
I think I put them in 19th in my predictions.
Yeah, so
especially like losing Lopetegui as well. Like obviously he's a manager that he clearly knows his stuff, and if he is leaving because he doesn't necessarily believe in a project, like that's a big red flag.
Yeah, it's a big red flag to anyone going in there. So I take it Gary O'Neill, he's going to go in there, he's going to take the job in Premier League and put himself in the shop window and all that sort of stuff. But I think he's right up against it.
It got bad that they took back a Matt Doherty who I like Matt Doherty, but like he's been nowhere near like that level of football in a while. Sure, he went to Atletico Madrid. He went to
Spurs, didn't he?
He went to Spurs, and the Spurs gave him on a free to Atletico Madrid, and Atletico Madrid didn't even put him anywhere near the bench. That's what.
I don't know if they play every game like they played against United. I think they'd be okay.
They'd be okay, but the fact that they showed in the game against Brighton that they couldn't do that consistently 2 games in a row.
That's what I mean. I think that's
a bit of a soft underbelly that came to show against Brighton, wasn't it?
They pulled out a really good performance. And to be fair, like they were unlucky, but they didn't get the 3 points.
And it's a major game this weekend in that kind of like battle because they play Everton.
That's going to be big.
We're going to get to Everton in a minute, aren't we? Because
oh yeah.
But yeah, I feel for Wolves. I don't think they're looking great. I think they've got an uphill season.
I think they're just stuck as well. Like you said, they haven't really got the spending power to do anything. It's like it's looking like it could be a rough one.
It could be a rough one, and I can't see where the goals are coming from, and that's the issue. If you're going to let goals in, fine, but if you've got at least somebody who can get goals at the other end, there's a fighting chance.
And that's been their problem for a long time, right? Like ever since Jimenez's injury, they've just really struggled to get anything sort of consistent going. And it like I said, it's been a problem for a while. But this season looks like
they bought several attackers, and none of them seems to have fit into.
They're all either too young, too light, too slight, too inexperienced, not quite there, not quite at the level. I mean, they're great. Those 2/3 of the pitch, but as soon as they get up the top, then
it's just no end product. That's the problem.
And unfortunately, with Lopetegui, they bought like a big striker, and then he tore his ACL on his debut.
Yeah, that was tough.
Back in. I mean, that's like what are you just almost like the gods are against you on that point, aren't you? Like it's going to be one of those seasons, and I think it is going to be one of those. They might eke out just enough points, as you say, if they bring out those kind of performances that they did in the first week of the season. They might get some wins where they.
But even in that first game of what they played, the evidence in that game against United is their lack of a striker. They created a lot of chances.
Yeah.
But
because if they did have someone clinical up top to finish that, they could have put that to bed.
It was literally just It was literally just Neto shooting at Onana like for 80 minutes.
Yep. I think the only probable saving grace for Wolves, and I hate saying this,
three other teams that are worse.
Yeah, it's just potentially the lack of quality that I see at the bottom of the table. Like, I don't have that high hopes for Sheffield United. I think Forest could potentially be in trouble. I think Luton probably aren't great. Like, I think Fulham are going to struggle this year without Mitro. I don't think they're going to be like that bad, but it could be like an outside shout. Everton.
Me and Jono disagreed on this, where Jono put like Wolves at 20th, and I put Sheffield United as 20th.
Yeah, that's it was 19, 20, 2019. It's but I think down there we talked about it earlier, and we're week 2 and we're already talking about who's going to be struggling. But we've got to, I think, as you mentioned, Crazy on Twitter, we've got to add Everton in. I think we all overlooked Everton in our first weeks of that sort of who's going to be in trouble, but they look
because I put it down to the Sean Dice factor of keeping them up, but that doesn't seem to be helping at the moment.
That's rubbed off. That's gone, hasn't it? There is no Sean Dyche factor at the moment. They look terrible. They looked just like schoolboy. I mean, the 4th goal they gave away with the Ashley Young just throwing it halfway.
And they're finding it very hard to sign players. I know they look like they're about to actually make signings for the first time in ages, but they have been struggling to get players.
Yeah, and their injuries are mounting up as well. I think they've got a fair few on the. I mean, what they got?
I just feel like the big one is always going to be Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Like, I mean, this guy looked like prime Thierry Henry at points under Carlo Ancelotti. I mean, I know, to be fair, Ancelotti does probably a lot for a lot of players, but he showed how good Calvert-Lewin can be. But he just seems to have I guess kind of like Reece James, just a body made of cheese strings. He's got problems.
It's always bad for a team when you get carved open by a team who got carved open like a week ago.
Yeah,
in Villa.
It's not a good look. Yeah,
I mean, I know we had Villa much higher up than their first week sort of showing, and they have done very well in the transfer.
But what you don't want to do is concede like more than 3 goals against a team that conceded 5, like the other.
Yeah, it kind of like it's like, well, you've let in 8 there, haven't you? Because that team got battered 5-1 and they've just battered you 4-0. It's like, wow. I mean, it's not great, is it? So they're looking, I think, as you say, that Everton are in real dire straits at the moment, and I don't foresee them finding a way out at all. They had their emergency.
That's why I said this week against Wolves, a big game.
That's big. I think it's just years of mismanagement catching up on them, because I think even that's probably the least Sean Dyche performance I've ever seen of a Sean Dyche team. Like, even with players like James Tarkowski, who played under Sean Dyche for God knows how long and is literally the definition of a Sean Dyche centre back.
Yeah.
And even then, they still just look dreadful defensively.
Just didn't. It's just schoolboy. It looked schoolboy, didn't it?
They've yet to score a single goal, Everton, in the 2 games.
Yeah, that's not good.
That's not great, is it? I mean, they are not looking good, and I don't know who they've got this week. Probably It doesn't matter who they're going to be facing. I can't see them.
Well,
it's them versus Wolves. Yeah,
it's versus Wolves. Both teams that don't really like scoring, except for Wolves did get a goal in the last one.
This is either
0-0 written over it, hasn't it?
It's literally either going to be the most boring 0-0,
I predicted a 1-1 draw.
Well, they found that you predict somebody finds the back of the net. You probably two own goals, probably, or something.
Exactly.
Harsh, but maybe
Sean Dyche subs himself on in the 19 minutes.
Sean Dyche just sticks himself up top. Yeah,
top, I guess it wins a penalty or something. Yeah, but yeah, that's a relegation. Is 6-pointer relegation 6-point week 2 of the season? Might be a bit too early for that, but neither of those teams are in.
Whoever loses this game's going down.
I say now we get to our good old West Ham and Chelsea.
Yeah, what happened there?
Really hoping this one wouldn't come. Now listen. Obviously, it's not ideal. I won't lie. I got all Billy Big Boy after our draw with Liverpool, because I thought that's a cracker result. We've done well there. We actually looked like a good football team again, and then I came crashing back down to earth as we lost to 10-man West Ham. So that was good. I needed that humbling.
You needed that sort of sense of reality.
I was getting a bit too much on my high horse. I forgot we're actually terrible.
But no, a bit above the top 10, and then they're like, no, you stay back.
No, hold on a minute, man.
Yeah, I got a bit.
Maybe Todd Bowley's turned the corner by buying absolutely every midfielder on the market.
James Ward-Prowse showed up, as he always does.
The definition of sports washing, and then we came up against a set piece FC, and we just couldn't handle it. No, I mean, listen, it reminded me that this is still very much a project team, which it is. I guess it's hard to say that when you've spent as much
quite a lot of youngsters as well in your team, to be fair.
Yeah, it's a very young team. Like, we've gone from the team that won the Champions League, which had a really good mix of veterans and really young players, has now gone to it's an incredibly young team. It really is. I think it will come good. I think Poch is an incredible manager, and if I want anyone to work with all of these kids, then it would be Poch. But I think we just kind of need to stop buying people. It's really hard to get any form.
How do you integrate them?
Exactly. It's so hard to get any form of
We say that after you bought a Brazilian striker today, and you're buying a keeper.
Oh, good God! But it's getting to the point where I don't know who these players are. I don't have time to research this guy, and then it's oh God, we've signed another 2 guys. I'm oh cool, okay, wicked.
Right. Add them to the list.
How are we supposed to get any form of a fluid or just knowing who our best 11 is when by the time we've already we started integrating Caicedo, and now we've got Lavia and 3 new players that we somehow
I don't think it's good for Poch to keep getting more people added to.
No, exactly. It's the one thing which I will say, it's the one thing that made me feel quite sorry for Graham Potter last season, was I just thought he's doing a terrible job, but I also don't think anyone could do better, just because the situation he was in was horrendous. Just and
revolving door of who are you now? Who am I playing this week?
Exactly.
Who are you? I didn't even know.
But I suppose one positive in the game was good equalizer from Chelkawika.
Yes, that was very good. Before he went off injured, that was fantastic. I really enjoyed that.
One to the A&E list.
I think the one thing that was quite frustrating is it kind of felt like it was going to be one of those days with just how the game was going, but I think it
could have easily swung the other way with your penalty that Fernandez got saved. We can't use the word miss because again, it doesn't like the miss word.
Yep.
I love the guy. Like this word. Yep. I love the guy, but his run-ups need to calm down. But yeah, I think I'm a little bit disappointed that we maybe didn't take more of an advantage when they went down to 10 men. Obviously, they went on to score another goal and we lost. But it's disappointing. But I'm not beaten up just yet. I actually saw us score, so it's already better than last season, even if we lost 3-1 to a 10-man team, I would say. So, that's
you did find the back of the net.
Well, we do have to talk about it's going to be brought up a lot, even though he can't do anything about the price tag, but Caicedo's debut.
Wasn't great. Yeah, I mean...
It wasn't great. That is one way to put it.
That is the nicest possible way.
He almost gave away a goal and then gave away a penalty.
Yeah, he almost gave away one and then was a bit disappointed that he didn't. So I thought,
well, I know what's good.
Yeah, a bit disappointing. But again, I think it's I don't really put it on him or the team. Like the poor guy, this transfer saga has been going on for God knows how long. I'm pretty sure.
And also, he's now going to have the poor guy is with like I know it from United, like the price tag is going to be brought up quite a
lot. Every single time he steps on the pitch, he's on the team sheet, he does anything. It's the £115 million signing from Brighton.
And that will never go away unless, and it's
until
kind of
you
like
go
a
out and get
double-edged
120 million.
sword. Like even if he does turn out to be like the best defensive midfielder, God, I can't English today. Even if he does turn out to be like the best defensive mid in the world, it's just going to be like well, he should be for that money. Like there's no winning in this scenario.
And if he has one like slightly bad games, like, well, it clearly wasn't worth that. Why did they?
He's going to get absolutely crucified. Absolutely crucified. Which is why I'm so glad that I think we haven't really had that with Enzo. Like he just kind of quietly goes about his business and does a lot. And I really like Enzo. Obviously, like I said, I don't put this on Caicedo at all. He's been with this team 5 minutes and we've already replaced him with signing Lavia. So the poor guy's probably a bit confused.
Yeah. I mean, his head must be spinning.
It's also going to hit him worse with the media because he's already Prem proven in their eyes.
Yeah.
We're the Prem proven signings.
After like one season. I mean,
no, but like the
real winner in this is Brighton.
I don't believe in the whole Prem proven as like this major thing. Because people are going to have to adjust
for something, but it's kind
people are going to have to adjust anyway because you're in a new team, so it's going to take
different
some
players, different system, and everything else. Is unless they literally, well, and maybe that's what they're thinking of doing at Chelsea, become a Brighton 2.0 and play the same way and whatever else, then it's the transition isn't going to be too bad. But
otherwise, knock down Stamford Bridge, just move to the Amex. We'll just move down there.
Use Todd Bowley, rest of Todd Bowley's money, just buy the Amex.
Extend the King's Road all the way down to Brighton. It'll be fine. Just build one big King's Road all the way down. I don't know. I mean, from a player's perspective, you're right. It's not him who sets the market value. It's not. He's got no say in it, and unfortunately, it's going to follow him around. Every touch he makes, every bad tackle, everything is going to be absolutely magnified. Until, as I say, maybe the next player who comes in through the door at Chelsea is bought for 120 million because they've decided that's let's throw it around. We can sign somebody on a 10-year contract before that new rule comes in. So let's go and do it now and get everybody in on 120 million contracts. But hey, over 8 years, it's only.
I mean, it's a little bit different than the two signings today. They said it was a 7-year contract. Like, wow, they've reduced it by one. Great.
We're getting better at this finance thing. Yeah, I mean, I think there were still some positives to take. Like, I know he hasn't scored in the league yet, but I'm really liking the look of Nicholas Jackson. I think he's just one of those players that, even though he hasn't scored yet, he's causing teams problems.
I think he'll start to score a lot more when he scores the one. I think it's one of those.
One of those threshold moments, isn't it? Yeah.
And it's not as if we don't know he can do it. Like in preseason, he was.
And I'll argue, though he was non-existent in the Liverpool game, I have to give credit. Sterling was very much everywhere in that game.
Very good. Yeah, that's the best performance I've seen him have in a Chelsea shirt by a country mile. Like, he looked good.
Yeah. So his pieces are there. It's putting them all together. But as you say, until the jigsaw is finalised, those pieces are constantly changing. How do you put a team together when you don't even know?
Pieces are there. You just have too many damn pieces.
Too many pieces. No, there's not enough corners.
Too many cooks is the line that
usually. But then going on to corners, obviously James Ward-Prowse moving to so kindly put them, set piece FC. But what a signing! I mean, I think Matty, you and I spoke about James Ward-Prowse on our previous iteration of the show where we said he's too good for Southampton. Somebody's got to come in and snap him up. West Ham, I'm surprised nobody else did it, but West Ham already reaping the benefits.
But I think if you think about it, it's the perfect signing for West Ham. West Ham, any David Moyes team has always been a big physical team. They were good at set pieces last season, so why not just sign potentially the best set piece taker, especially in England, probably. It makes perfect sense. Like, if you're going to have the people to knock these chances away, you might as well have the deliveries being.
And it's the one team I would say he would start like every single game. Like other teams, like top of the day, they would use him as like an option off the bench, like set piece wise. Whereas West Ham, that they'll build their team around James Ward-Prowse.
Lumping it forward, getting a free kick off Antonio. James Ward-Prowse from 30 yards out will put it on somebody's head.
As we saw in that game against Chelsea, they very much were trying to get the winner came from a penalty from Paqueta, who's trying to battle his own betting stuff in the background that stopped his move to Man City.
For now, at least.
Yeah, for now.
For now, yeah. I mean, it sounds like it's not even over here. It was some sort of legacy Brazilian
from
thing.
Brazil
Like,
yoke.
So who knows? Who knows how that's going to pan out? But yeah, I think that move will be back on in January if he carries on.
I know they're also trying to get Kundis, West Ham. They're trying to. They bid for Kundis from Ajax.
Yeah, I feel like they've left their business quite late.
Who just
now
signed
they
Malvona Press, the ex-Arsenal player? Somebody just.
Oh,
signed
Mavropanos. Yeah, that is. I'm pretty sure that's as good as done because they target him after Maguire.
West Ham.
Right?
They got. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's done his medical. I think they just haven't shown him hold up a shirt yet. I think that's the only.
Done the old welcome to the London Stadium. Probably because they haven't quite found all the letters to put on the back of the shirt yet.
Yeah, but as far as I know, I think that's done. Like West Ham have taken their time with business, but they seem to be getting stuff done. Like as we're getting towards the end of the window now.
And the last thing I heard about Kundis is that it was pretty much 50-50 about to happen, or not about that. It's pretty much where it is at the moment, where it could happen in the next 2 days, or.
I mean, they've not got. They're cutting it fine, as you say. You've got a week to go, haven't we, for the.
Go on, Big Davy Moyes, bringing in the signings,
racking them in for the.
He's got to do it for the Europa League. The draw next Friday.
Ooh, that's gonna spice things up, isn't it?
And just before our show, we have the Champions League draw next week.
Oh, there'll be some things to talk about there. There'll be lots of things to talk about there. I think that's where we mentioned it before, Chrissy. That's I think where the Newcastle hangover will start to kick in. It hasn't done it yet, but I think once Champions League kicks in, once they start to turn their heads towards that, once they see the draw and everything else, you can imagine their fans are going to get a little bit ahead of themselves. Will the young squad, inexperienced squad, start to look to the big bright lights of Tuesdays and Wednesday nights in St James's? And first of all, it's going to be absolutely insane. Some of those night games up at St James's is going to be immense sort of atmosphere, but will that impact on the team and how they get on in the league?
Yeah, I can't imagine many better places to go to watch a Champions League game, to be honest. I think in terms of fan bases and stuff, I feel like that's why I'll never be able to be fully mad about all the stuff going on with Newcastle. Obviously, quite a lot of it's a grey area and stuff, but I think after everything this fan base has had to go through with the previous regime and stuff, I'm kind of just pretty happy for them.
It's more of a thing. I hate the what's around it, but I'm very much happy for the fans. They deserve that themselves.
I also think they're I feel like they're building a team in the right way as well. They're not
doing
Chelsea.
They're not doing and they're also not doing what City did when City got their money first. They bought
first time round.
The Marquez signing out of nowhere.
They're buying smart, and also even though they could afford to pay whatever people are asking, they are not getting.
They're very much keeping in the FFP kind of thing when they can easily go around it because they're we need to get Harvey Barr and all this stuff.
I look at them.
They're not going for those marquee sort of Neymar-esque type signings. Yeah. They've gone out and got very.
Their main marquee signing was just Tonali. We have him. He's our marquee one. Everyone else is just small, useful players.
When you when that got taken over, didn't the big exciting signing when they first got taken over was Trippier, and everyone was like,
"Yeah, that's what I mean." They're making these exciting signings like Guimaraes and stuff, which is wicked, and he's an amazing player, but also. They're backing it up with players like Kieran Trippier and Dan Burn, who I'm not being funny. He's not the most inspirational guy in the world, but in this Newcastle team, it just works. It's a just well-built organization.
Even if it's slightly sports washing.
Yes. Listen, that's none of my business. As a fan of a club who's buying every player in the world, that's
got to be careful where you go with that one. But yeah, I mean, absolutely. So yeah, and then the final game of the week was obviously the Crystal Palace Arsenal game.
Very boring, Arsenal.
Very, very boring 1-0 Arsenal. It sounds like a throwback. But again, a little bit of controversy.
Wasn't a fantastic watch. Yeah, red card. What do we think about that?
Red card, I mean, it's a collective red card. If you looked at it from when the throw in, when the ball went out to it was thrown. Yes, it's time wasting, and therefore it's a red card, or it's definitely a booking, and it's unfortunate that it was it led to his sending off. I don't think it was his fault. I mean, he literally got the ball and threw it pretty much in a couple of seconds. So, he's like, how the hell could it be me? But, that was Chelsea's gift to Arsenal of Kai Havertz kind of holding the ball for 30 seconds before giving it to, I think it's good for the longer term league. I think it will make people sort of go, oh, they are actually taking it seriously. Whether or not it's being taken too rigorously for the early couple of games.
I think it might be taken because I think that's a bit too early to be considering that type of team with Arsenal would be time wasting that early into the second half.
I mean, it's an Arsenal player. I'm quite happy he got sent off. But yes, I agree. It's like it's dangerous. Like, especially when there's other examples in that game of, like, I think there's a throw in that Kai Havertz takes like double the time that this other one did, and he didn't get booked for it. So again, I guess it brings up that argument of like consistency, please, lads, come on.
And then in the end of the game, Kai Havertz got yellow carded for kicking the ball away slightly.
Yeah. So should he have been sent off as well? Like, I guess probably by that metric. So
by that point, by the metrics of that, he should have done. And it's the double jeopardy, right? I suppose, because even if you're time wasting, you're not wasting any time. Because the ref's just going to go, well, you took 45 seconds. I'll add 45 seconds.
What was your opinion on Ezzy's penalty count?
As much as purely because of my bias, I wanted it to be a penalty. I don't think it is. As much as I really, really did want it to be. God, I was screaming pen, but no.
I mean, it looked like it from like the still images that people were posting online, but when you actually watch the full clip, you have like maybe not.
Maybe not, yeah. But again, it's what Alex said last week, wasn't it? If it looks like a penalty, smells like a penalty, feels like a penalty, 9 times out of 10, it is a penalty. Yeah. This one didn't. It was like, he shouted for it, but you were shouting for it in hope rather than in sort of like, oh, that's a pen. That's definitely a pen. It's not like any of those Stonewall penalties like the Wolves one or like some of the other ones. And the same, as you say, the Liverpool one, by the letter of law, was a penalty. I wasn't shouting for it. I was a bit like, oh, he's given that. Oh, we'll take it.
I think sometimes you've got to take like context into account. I think, haven't you? Like but then I guess if we're arguing about consistency, refereeing is an impossible job at the end of the day. I'd never want to do
it. No, absolutely not. But yeah, by the letter of the law,
like ref things, you have like stuff like in the United game, Bruno Fernandes coming out of the game and going like, they had apologized to Wolves last week. I want my apology.
Yeah, what do you think about that? I mean, should he be reprimanded because does that go against the whole new respect the referees kind of code of conduct?
I think it's more like the game. He really should have probably just left it and just took in his anger to maybe online and saying like, "Oh, should have been a pen," and just left it as that.
Maybe we thought it was a penalty and it wasn't given. That would have been probably.
I think he just got frustrated because with the whole Onana situation, which we established was a pen last week. But the whole thing, like I think Bruno throughout the entire week just got annoyed that like Sky and all of them kept talking about it the entire week leading up to the Spurs game. And I think just deep down, he looked like a person that got annoyed at all of that, and then this incident happened, and just
that just tips him over the edge.
He looks like he does look like the kind of person that would quite easily and quite quickly just throw his arms in the air in a big huff and get a bit petulant.
It's why in that game he got a yellow card for like his usual game, which I said he's going to pick up a lot of yellow cards because I know Bruno Fernandes. He's the type of person that would tell the ref, "Listen, you made the wrong decision there," and then this new rules, he's getting a card for that.
He wears his heart on his sleeve, doesn't he, Bruno? I think if he's frustrated by something, he will make it very obvious.
He said it himself. He's way too competitive, and that gets him on the wrong side of ref sometimes.
Which is what you want for your midfielders, and but as you say, there's a time and a place, and he's got to be careful that he doesn't overstep that mark.
Especially with the new rules as well. That's
those yellow cards will quickly rack up, won't they?
Yeah.
Good stuff. Right, looking forward to next week then. Next set of games, I should say. We've already mentioned the Everton Wolves game. That looks like a relegation 0-0 ding dong. Last game on Match of the Day.
We'll mention the first game for you, man. Chelsea versus Luton. Your chance to finally get into the top 10 for the first time
listen,
since December.
we're going to be looking for us to put ourselves more than 1 point ahead of Everton, who have been saying are absolutely dog water. So, fingers crossed. We should hopefully win this. I do feel a bit bad for Luton, actually. I know they obviously played in like the opening weekend, and then their game against Burnley was postponed
because their stadium wasn't ready yet for Premier League.
Kind of in this weird situation, right, where like other teams have played, and like I guess especially as a freshly promoted team. So I guess same for Burnley as well. I guess they've got more recent experience, but when you're freshly promoted, you kind of want to get your feet wet as quickly as possible, right? So
and Burnley was one of
that game.
The Burnley game
you especially want your first home game, and now they have 2 away games in their first.
Yeah, and traveling to Stamford Bridge is not the easiest game in the world.
It shouldn't be.
Well, it might be, but it shouldn't be. Yeah,
should be.
And like I said like I read from one Chelsea fan on Twitter, is that this is your chance to be coming to the top 10 for the first time since December.
Whew. That's harsh, but I mean it is there, right?
Rough.
Rough already, though. It's rough that your own fans are calling that out. But
Maron, if anything,
the fans are celebrating it because they're like, we get to finally be in the top 10.
Finally get to see
it's on. The remontada is almost complete.
Here we go. Here it comes. So I think we're safe to say, unfortunately for Luton, this is probably not looking like a chance that they're getting their first points. And I think, as you say, Matt, it was a shame that the Burnley game got postponed. It wasn't, the stadium wasn't ready, because that's probably both teams are looking at that as we could get a point.
That's a championship game for us last year, so we can't have a go at that one.
We can have a go at that one. Yes, Burnley ran away with the championship, so they were probably feeling pretty confident about it. But it's the Premier League now, and there's a whole different kettle of fish. But I
think they both had tough starts to the season as well, right? Like Luton played Brighton, which is always tough, and Burnley played City, so that's obviously tough. So that second game of the season, when they're playing each other, is probably a bit of a nice come down to earth game for them. So for that to not happen, and then them have to go into 2 tough games. Obviously, Luton have us, and Burnley
have Villa.
Oh, Villa, yeah, that's a tough game as well. That's tough.
It's the battle of the Clarets, I suppose, that one, isn't it? As we get to that one, so Chelsea should sort of win that one. The Bournemouth Tottenham game. Bournemouth again are probably at home might be just about okay, but I reckon Tottenham are going to be taking that one.
Yeah, I think Ange Ball might probably should win this out here, but we'll see. He's still betting this in himself. But I don't have terribly high hopes for Bournemouth, so I would assume Tottenham should be getting the job done here.
I think Tottenham will get the job done, but I wouldn't be surprised if Dominic Solanke scores again for Bournemouth at 1 point.
Yep. It'll be a 1-3 or something like that there. Brentford Crystal Palace. I've skipped one there, but we'll come back to it. Brentford Crystal Palace. I see Brentford just look solid. I see that home game for Brentford, another 2-0. I think Eze was rumours around Eze going to City again, wasn't it? I saw
Palace have been a bit 50-50.
Yeah.
Man City were looking at Eze as well as like an option if they don't get Nunez.
Yeah, I think Brentford will do it. They're looking very good. I see Palace are kind of one of those teams that I'm like a little bit sneaky worried about. Like they've kind of got like a bit of creativity in there from players like Eze and Elise, but then kind of past that, I don't really know how much they offer. So I'm kind of sneaky worried about Palace. Like I'm sure Big Roy will just find a way to get the job done. But I think they're definitely probably a team to keep an eye on, I think.
Arsenal I know that game against Arsenal with like Palace, speaking of them, was the first time Roy has lost at home with Palace since he returned to Palace. That Arsenal game.
That's a stat.
That's a stat, isn't it? I mean, he gets lots of draws. They don't lose a lot at home. So it's one of those. The home form will probably be enough for Palace to end up being 14th and not really challenging anywhere. But that's all Palace want, mid-table security through.
And their annual random win at Man City, they're just always
they're always random one that they pull out and derail it.
It's also what Spurs do, and like at home to the City, they always have that. It's the one fixture Pep doesn't like going to.
Traditions, he just doesn't like Palace at City, and then he doesn't like traveling to Spurs. Those are just other than that, he's
that's what they asked Pep. Like, what's your next goal after winning the treble? Just win against Tottenham. That's his goal.
As long as he doesn't face Palace in the Champions League final, I think the treble will be on. He'll be all right.
Oh, they might get Palace in the FA Cup. Who knows? Arsenal Fulham's a home win, right? Mitrovic gone.
Get this job done. Yeah. Again, Fulham, I'm sneaky worried about them. Like Mitrovic,
they're going to definitely be in and around the 17, 18, 19 mark.
Such a big player for them.
The question is, does Jimenez have because he hasn't been the same since that head injury quite a few years ago. Will he rediscover that at Fulham?
Yeah. Let's be honest, it's absolutely fair that
and they have Mr. Baby Oil now at Fulham. Damn it, Troy. Should they announce him by posting a picture of Johnson's baby oil on a chair?
I think so.
I think that's the only way to do it, isn't it? That's who he is. That's what he's known as. You may as well embrace it.
You might as well just lean into the stereotype fully.
You might as well just get sponsored by Johnson. You might as well be the salesperson of Johnson's baby oil.
Just a lifetime supply of baby oil.
Exactly.
Could you imagine it? The Johnson's Baby Oil Stadium at Craven
things
Cottage.
I didn't expect to be saying at almost 10 o'clock on a Thursday.
Exactly.
But here we are.
Here we are. We're diving into it. And as you say, we've already mentioned Everton Wolves as a 0-0 ball draw. United at Forest. Forest at United should be a home win.
It should be a United win with our home record that we just about kept going against Wolves.
I feel like this is like a good kind of game as well to kind of kickstart the season for you guys as well, right? Like it's been a bit of a slow start.
And there's rumors that our youngster Højlund, who was out with a back injury, may be on the bench, may not be, but there's rumors that he'll be on the bench.
Yeah, great big number 9 hope.
A lot of your season hinges on that. Like I love Rashford, but clearly him up front is not the role.
He scores all his goals on the left, and I think we need to put him back on the left.
Yeah, he's an Henry-esque, right? Henry scored bucket loads of goals from that sort of inside left channel running on. I mean, I'm not saying Rashford is anywhere.
Yeah, but it was more like last season. It was more Martial did all like the movement in the box to bring people out, and then Rashford would just cut in, shoot.
Yeah. So maybe having Højlund there is what you kind of need to get him on the pitch and get him firing and stuff like that. And
what we need to do is to get what Martial wasn't doing was scoring, and neither was Weghorst. That's what we hope Højlund does the Martial movement, but also will chip in with 10 goals himself throughout the 38 game season.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we've got a cracking game in store. Sort of like a little bit of a local-ish derby, and then we've got Brighton hosting West Ham. That should be a stonker.
Sneaky corker of a game, yeah.
Yeah,
I think you've got
Brighton who scored 4 goals in 2 games in a row.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Brighton, who are just the most fluid team that just kind of seem to get better no matter what happens, and West Ham, who are just the most rigid set piece team.
It's just team, right? They're gonna
fire and ice just going at it.
West Ham to have 1 win and 1 draw against a team that has 2 wins on the draw before one. It's an interesting.
It's going
to be a battle for the top of the league, boys.
It could be. But Brighton are sitting pretty up there. But I think that is going to be, as you say, a sneaky chance of a cracking game. That one.
I think so.
Do Brighton score 4 again? That's the question.
Yeah, can they keep this streak?
They keep? I mean, against the West Ham team, probably not. Probably not.
I don't know. I always feel like I write Brighton off, and then they just make me look silly week after week. But now I've said this, they're probably going to score 3 own goals and lose. I don't know.
Matty gives Brighton a stamp of approval. We're in trouble.
I'm back. If De Zerbi finally starts Evan Ferguson again, and Evan Ferguson hat-trick.
That's it.
Evan Ferguson hat-trick. Go on, big Evan.
Right, yeah, he's going to justify his 200 million price tag next year.
All right, yeah. Chelsea will be in for a £160 million bid for him soon enough.
Evan Ferguson hat-trick, but James Ward-Prowse scores 4 free kicks. 4-3 West Ham. Bosh. Easy.
No, it's going to be like that. It's going to be like that kid from when one in United. We had Rooney's kid where he's lost 5-4 but scored all 4.
Yep. One of those ones. Yep. Burnley Villa should be another interesting one. I'd expect Villa to probably take that one, sort of Midlands derby, if you like, but Battle of the Clarets. But
it's Burnley, an interesting one for a Vincent company. That one
definitely. It's a test.
A home game against the thing that a little bit easier than Man City.
I think everyone thought Man City, as long as they didn't get absolutely pasted against City, everyone kind of gave that first game.
And even the admin against City goes like he was fine afterwards. He can. Yeah,
to be fair,
I'm fine.
I think Burnley gave a pretty good account of themselves against City. Obviously 3-0 is not a fantastic scoreline at the end of it, but I don't think they got totally trousers.
What I said in that game against Burnley Man City is that Burnley just didn't pressurize Ederson enough. They were kind of just sitting off a bit too much for this league. And if they can get rid of that respect against Villa, then they might have a chance to do something here. They just need to actually press.
Sure, yeah.
And Villa, the Villa looking good. They've done a load of good signings. They look like they're.
Martinez does have a mistake in him now and again. We've seen him
We've seen him do it before. Yeah, absolutely. And so, I'd say Villa bouncing back from their 5-1 drubbing at the hands of Newcastle, which I don't know if they got the scoreline that first week seemed to favour Newcastle a lot. I don't think it was a 5-1 game, but then they turned around and absolutely walloped.
It's a very even game, and then in one of them, like I said, Martinez against Newcastle just went on a madness and got himself a booking because he just clobbered someone.
Yeah.
But so Villa's goal difference is back to 0 because they've bonked everything.
Yeah, they cancelled out the 4th.
This is a fresh start for Villa. This is basically opening day for Villa. We just forget the last 2 weeks have happened and we go again.
Yeah, 2 weeks of extra pre-season Villa have had just to get back to 0, right?
Competitive pre-season. And now we move on.
And then, unfortunately, Sheffield United have City coming to visit. That doesn't look like a fun Sunday afternoon for the Blades at all. There.
That could get ugly. Genuinely, that could get ugly.
Yeah. I mean, De Bruyne's not there, but Foden, if they're putting Foden in De Bruyne's position, is that his best position? Because I know we briefly talked on, he's not a left winger. That's not the position he should be playing in. Is this now his opportunity?
I did say Pep doesn't really rate Foden that much by the looks of it, how he uses him.
It's not weird though, because
not as much as Grealish. He favors Grealish on that left, more so than anything.
Yeah, because I mean, he's been quoted as saying in the past that he thinks Foden is potentially the most gifted player he's ever worked with. And obviously this is the guy that kind of helped Messi become what he is. So to be saying stuff like that, he clearly rates him in some capacity, but then also it feels like the way he manages him in this squad really suggests something else.
And maybe he's saying stuff, but maybe
I'll give you all a bit of breaking news as right now.
Oh,
hey, Manchester United are without a left back.
Oh,
as Tyrone Malacia was already injured, and now Luke Shaw has picked up a muscular injury and is now going to be sidelined for extended period.
Oh, Forrest, you're going to do you then? No, I'm joking.
Chris Wood's actually.
Chris Wood's going to dob you in now. Your left hand side.
So therefore, it's going to probably be down low at the left back.
Bring Harry Maguire back at left back.
Bring Harry in. Yeah, go 3 at the back. You'll be fine.
Pacey wing back, Harry Maguire. That's tough. He's a good player as well. Not even just sticking to that left back role. I think he's been one of the most underrated players.
He even fills in at centre back now and again.
Yeah, the fact that he was getting chosen over Maguire kind of shows obviously how highly they think of him. But I just think genuinely he's one of the most underrated players. I think Luke Shaw is phenomenal. That's a big miss for you guys.
Should be
the only good thing is after this week and next week, it's the international break, which may
just when we get into it. Just when we get into it, and then
I know they
break in.
They give the final game.
They do give with one hand, take away with the other. So final game of the weekend. The classic, the old, every time you see this game on the dock here, it's it's back to the Collymore days.
Game of the weekend. Game of the weekend.
Newcastle hosting Liverpool. Is it going to be another 4-3 ding dong? It may well be because
they have a very impressive home record.
Yeah, but neither of the teams look like they can keep a clean sheet.
The fixture last year ended in a 2-0 to Liverpool with a very late goal for Liverpool.
It was. We didn't.
I don't see one team walking away with it. I don't think it's going to be that simple.
No.
I do think it'll be a cracker, although now I've said that it's going to be terrible because I know the power my predictions seem to have. You watch, it'll be like Everton Wolves will be like game of the weekend. Now I've said that, and Liverpool Newcastle will just be a dreadful 0-0.
Last year, Liverpool won both of these fixtures. Yeah. One was 2-0. One was 2-0, and the other one was a 2-1, but that was Carvalho's 98 minutes.
98 minute.
Then Carvalho disappeared from the Liverpool squad completely.
Never to be seen again.
Can't even remember where we've loaned him out. Somewhere in Belgium, I think he's gone.
He's gone to Leipzig, hasn't he?
Maybe. Yeah.
unless I'm making it up. It's somewhere random. It was one of those things. Was like, oh, okay, I guess he's gone.
I guess he didn't quite live up to everything then. Yeah.
Let's go
he
for
is
it.
at
Why
Leipzig.
not?
You are correct.
Yeah, I think so. And I think the thing is, I think Newcastle's midfield is an awful lot better than ours. So that they should boss that midfield.
I don't know if it's necessarily better, but I think it's probably more settled.
And on his day,
like
Isaac looks really good on his day.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think our defenders need to kind of wake up a little bit. Virgil, now that he's captain, I think he's been a little bit off of.
Yeah, your defense has looked a bit shaky.
They won't want a bad result after losing 1-0 to Man. They want to bounce back in the next fixture.
Definitely, yes, at home as well.
It's at Newcastle. Yeah, that they're going to be up for it. Like they always are. They've proven it time and time again. Even when they were watching the 5-1 in their first ball, they were up for it all the time. So
the fans will demand another close to the 5-1 performance.
Yeah, I can probably see Newcastle doing this. I'm not going to lie. Not that I don't rate Liverpool, because I really do. I just think your squad, I guess, similar to Chelsea's, but nowhere near as dramatic. It's gone over such an overhaul, especially in that midfield. And I think the way that obviously Klopp plays, the midfield is the engine room of the team. So with there being so much change there, I think once Liverpool get going, I think you guys are going to be fine. I think Newcastle are very
concern. My main concern for Liverpool is they've changed too many midfielders there.
Mm-hmm.
It changed or had them changed for it.
It's the entire midfield. Yes. But another thing, you accepted the salaries offer for two of them. You originally went into it not selling Henderson in your plans, and then that just arose.
Just gone, yeah.
Fabinho, you were going to sell, but Henderson, you weren't, and then
Fabinho money talks. Kind of a weird one. I know last season he wasn't not fantastic, but I know he wasn't.
He wasn't as good as he was the year before. It
felt pretty wild, just sort of getting rid of him after one mediocre-ish season. I was a bit surprised by that one.
Van Dijk is your captain,
who had a shaky season last season. To be honest, he looked like he had a hangover from previous couple of seasons.
And Gakpo still being used as a midfielder needs to change. Hopefully with this Endu person can come in and play
Seemed
more.
to be okay when he came on, considering he was coming on. We were down to 10 men. He did exactly what we would want from a sort of new guy defensive midfielder. He literally came on and held things together. So yeah, he might free up McAllister. And McAllister can now play, obviously, I think this week. So that will be a relief.
I also quite like the Endo signing. It's not maybe this big flashy name, maybe like the Caicedo and Lavia deals are, but if anything, that kind of helps him. I feel like he's not going to have all of the eyes on him Caicedo.
It's one of those random Klopp signing.
Feels a reach.
It just comes out of nowhere. Where Klopp just goes German league.
German league. He's pulled a 30-year-old, and you're like, really? It's almost like it's a reach and it's a panic. But then you see and you look at him and you think, actually, maybe it's not. Maybe it's just.
It's kind of more like when you signed Thiago out of nowhere, and then
it's
and
one of those
out of nowhere. They were oldish,
but still had legs. Still got in the tank. Endo. He's come in quite late to the professionals and the level that he's been playing. So maybe, even if it's just, quite frankly, if it's a holding for a season and he allows the midfield to develop and to progress and to gel, and McAllister and Soalaska, I will learn how to say that guy's name at some point, but not this week. We have an embarrassing of riches up front. It's just, how do we get them all on the pitch?
Too many attackers and not enough positions to put them in.
Yeah, I also just feel like it's because it's kind of an understated signing. It doesn't really feel like there's much downside. If he doesn't come in or maybe if he comes in and doesn't set the world alight, then like I said, no one's going to really be on his back about it. But if it comes out and really works out and he becomes a mainstay of this team that anchors that midfield, this is going to look like a genius move later this season.
Yep. Everyone's like,
Liverpool have won 4 of their last 5 Premier League away games against Newcastle.
I'm surprised by that.
Including the last 2 in a row.
Wow. Your stats are outrageous, my man. I'm loving this.
I'm loving Stato down here. I've Absolutely, I'm surprised.
They have never won 3 consecutive visits at St. James's Park.
There you go.
Oh, here it comes.
Cuts you down.
Look, you've upset him now. Well done.
I'm going to leave now.
You could break the trend now.
That's it. Could be it. Could be the time to buck that trend. Yeah. Anyway, so that's this week's features coming up, and now our new segment. There we go. Look at that. You got to love that. Look very professional, didn't it? Well done, Jono, who's not with us. So yeah, we have a fantasy league running. What are your sort of hot takes for this weekend? Who's your captain? Who's your must-have in your squad for a captain?
Captain this week would have to be Holland because they're playing Sheffield United. No offense, Sheffield. You're probably taking 5.
Can you? Yeah, come on.
You can't really back that one out. I mean, I've gone a bit left field. I'm thinking an Mbeumo at Brentford as a sneaky captain's pick.
That's a shout, I actually really like that.
He scored now 3 goals, I think. He scored in the first week. He scored 2 last week. He's taking penalties at Brentford. Might not, but and they're where are they this week again? They're at home to Crystal Palace. I don't know if that might be either a bold move or a completely, as you say,
to add to people's team, I would add an Estupinian from Brighton. He's been getting quite a lot of assists.
Yes, my fantasy team has not been really performing that well this year, but Estupinian has been incredible for me. I think, to be fair, there's probably a lot of Arsenal players that are a bit of a shout here. I think I've got both Saka and Odegaard, and against Fulham, who've looked a bit shaky this season, they could be on for a bit of a point.
Could be on a bit of a.
On the flip side, I do know Bernd Leno at the moment is the highest scoring goalkeeper, so maybe ignore my advice because
it's Stupinian and Matoma have really helped my fantasy side. They're the only ones getting points.
Just put Brighton squad players in, you'll be fine.
Absolutely,
the point.
Absolutely. Yeah. Get your transfers in now. Get solid.
I make the same mistake that I do in every opening game week and trust a United player in my fantasy team.
Yeah, my fantasy team always starts off fairly Chelsea based, and then just towards the season it just slowly sort of.
And I also fell into the trap of preseason by putting Jackson in there. He's not.
No, I mean, points. I'm really hoping. Surely my boy against Luton can get his first Premier League goal. He's still in my team. He's vice captain just in case Haaland and his 12 goals this weekend don't play. But I mean, surely, come on, Nico.
And
how's your chance? And
then Gary's McAllister had to get me -2 by annoyance.
Hey, it could be worse. He could have had your captain missing a penalty and actually only scoring you. Not as many points as he should have done. Because
you see, my captain was Haaland, and he did nothing.
He did nothing. Yeah, I had Salah as captain because I just thought the Newcastle game was not one of those Haaland scoring games, and I thought Salah at Bournemouth is always going to get you points. But he got me some, but he didn't get me as many as he possibly should have. But Matty, speaking of that, do you have your fantasy squad, and why is it not in our league?
I do, and I don't know. Gary, where can I find this fantasy league?
Well, now you mention it, going across the bottom of the screen, you'll see a ticker with all of our league information, and it will be in the comment section, and we will put it on Twitter. Please make sure you come and join in. It's the auto joining. Dan has said whether or not he's going to stick to it and whether or not he remembers, he might put a bit of a prize money towards the end of the year for
and while we're here, we should also shout out our Predictor League.
Predictor League as well. Hang on, I've got to find that one. Hang on, you're getting ahead of yourself there. I haven't found the link for that one yet. We do also have a Predictor League running as well. Let's jump in there and find the league. Oh, now you put me on the spot, Ronan. Why did you do that?
Now this, ladies and
my job.
Professional pod. to keep him in check. That's what we're here for.
Keep me on the wraps.
Make sure Gary's keeping the show ticking over.
Yeah, turning up on time, putting the right links in,
Come on, Gary. What are you doing, mate? Come on.
Here it is. It's coming. I'm getting there.
I did good the first week on the Al Predictor. Second week, not so much.
Not so good. I did better this week than the second week. And there we go. There's our Predictor League, which is on another site called Super Brew. Yeah, we love that. It's a fun one. It's you literally takes you 30 seconds, go in, throw some guesses, as we've just talked about. We've given you our pointers of who's going to win and what the scoreline is. Come and join the leagues and see how we get on. It's on the bottom there. These links will be shared via Twitter. And as we mentioned in socials, Matty, I can see you've got your handle there at Smithton99. What are you up to this week? Are you going to be doing any more Twitches? Are you going to be doing any streams of any games this weekend, or are you?
Not a lot off the top of my head, mate. But do you know, I don't think I'm actually doing anything on Saturday, so I might just do a big old long stream on Saturday. We'll see. To be fair, I've been not even ill. I've just had like the remnants of a cold for about a month. So I just haven't really had much of a voice. So now that that's back, I will actually be back to doing stuff.
Did you manage to get yourself a Madden code?
I have not yet. I'm still badgering many Twitter admins. Hopefully just to the point where they're just going to be like, look, let's just get rid of this geezer and give him a code. So not yet. But if you're not following me on Twitter at Smiths99, just come watch me bully some Twitter admins into trying to get a free video game. That's all that's really happening.
Good laugh. Good laugh. Crazy, you got anything else planned this weekend?
No, I've got nothing. Just watching football, making notes for next week.
Making notes for next week.
And I'm going to use this time to... We might as well shout out Jono's like other podcast that he's trying.
Yeah, I was just getting to that. I was just going to go and dig that up, but
for any United fans that are out there that want to do the, I have no involvement in this before. Anyway,
I have not.
Jono's own United project.
Here it comes.
It's called Magnificent24_7 is the app you want to do on Twitter. You'll find all Jono's links for those stuff there.
It's a new thing that Jono's put together for all Man United fans. Please do go and give it some love. Go and join it, subscribe.
Or just go in there if you want, if you're a rival fan like these two are, just go in and laugh at the misery sometimes.
Laugh at the misery sometimes.
I won't lie, you've piqued my interest now. Now I will.
That's how I sell on everyone.
Well, it's to everybody else, because let's be honest, that's what we all want to see. In all honesty, we're all there. We're all here for the Man United implosion, so we'll all go in and join that. But yeah, give that a look at, as you say, Manchester at. Oh, let's get it right. Make sure
Magnificent,
I get it right. At Magnificent24_7. Let's go over there and give Jono some love. Jono's not with us this week. I think he's back next week. He's working. So yeah, please do go and follow that one. And as we're saying it, please do make sure that on the bottom of this podcast and on the bottom of this stream, please like, share, give some love to Dan, and subscribe to the Let's Talk Sport Network. Dan's not with us. He's kind of taken a week off. I think he's put a lot of effort into producing a lot of new shows, so he's taken a couple of days off. So I wish you best, Dan. Looking forward to seeing you next week when a lot of stuff on Let's Talk Sport kicks off, because the NFL season starts. There's going to be a lot of new shows hitting the network.
Can we just like genuinely, just for a minute, just like actually give it up to Dan? Like, I know he's going through some serious stuff right now, and he's still making sure that every show is catered for. Like, everyone has a plan and what they're doing, and like just genuinely for still finding the time and stuff to run this space, so that obviously creators like us,
especially when the amount of shows that they put on, like,
it is insane. It's truly insane.
The amount of work that he's doing behind the scenes, producing so much stuff. It's not just for Let's Talk Sport. He's doing stuff for Sideline Sports. He's doing
like Stadium Rant. I think he runs their social accounts too. Like, it's insane. It's
insane the amount he does, and fair play to him. We love the guy, and the stuff he's doing. We wish him well, and the network wouldn't be the network without the work that he puts in it. Yeah. So good luck to him. We love him, and best of luck to you, Dan. And please,
and commiserations. I know Jono mentioned it last week, so I'll mention it. Commiserations to the England women, Steve.
Yep.
You could say that with a bit less of a smile.
You didn't have to be smirking when you said that.
That's why I drank the water. Commiserations to them.
Good job.
Fair play to Nike for finally listening to the 160,000 people who signed a petition to finally decide that they will sell Mary Earp's replica shirts. Well done.
Now
Nike.
I just want to buy one.
I actually want to go buy one just
as like a middle finger to Nike, but also just because she's genuinely a phenomenal goalkeeper.
United Women turned down a record bid for her today.
I heard, yeah.
Goalkeeper of the year, Golden Glove. Why not? I mean, fair play to her, but fair play to Nike to finally listen. And it was a story that should never have made a story, but it was good that she stood up and made it the story.
I did enjoy her penalty save reaction.
It was amazing, and she's doing exactly what she says. That's the kind of role model you want young girls and kids to be looking at. Girls can play football. Girls can be the best goalkeeper in the world. Get them a shirt. Get them out there playing. Why not? That's how we all learn.
Sadly, the final itself got a bit of controversy at the end with the Spanish FIFA.
Yes, who's now being? I believe he's being. He is being investigated. I believe. So. There we go.
Which is the proper outcome of that.
Proper outcome as it should be. Not the best way to finish a wonderful,
such an incredible tournament, and it just feels like a little bit overshadowed by some stupid man
sexist sort of thing right at the end. But fingers crossed that it blows over and that the Lionesses do get a chance on their next set of home fixtures. Hopefully they've got a few friendlies or something
and the next tournament will be trying to retain your Euros.
Exactly, but fingers crossed. I know there's talk that they might get a camp, and loads of the fans who went to go and see them at the airport will get a chance to go and say thank you to them.
I hope that the men's team don't steal the women's coach.
It's on the cards as a potential successor for Southgate. That's for next week.
Yeah, that's
wait, we'll save that for the international break.
I was going to say that's the international break.
There we go.
Good move. Get that content prepped.
That's it. There you go, Dan. We're doing the job for you, mate. Right, boys, this has been a great laugh. Apologies for turning up late, but I mean we've managed to overrun as well. So that just shows that it's been another hour and 15 minutes of fun and games. And I look forward to catching up with you guys next week. Matty, you around next week?
Yeah, man. If I'm needed, I'll hop on. Thank you very much for letting me be discount Jono. I'm glad I could help out.
We know what we didn't do, Ron.
We can hopefully talk about. We can
Jono's dream.
Listen, I'll get his dream next week.
Yeah, we'll get Jono's dream next week. Don't ask Matty. Well, you'll have to come back next week to find out about Jono's dream.
If that is not an endorsement to tune into next
everybody
week,
else tune in next week to come and see Jono's dreams.
Come on.
Come back. Right, thanks, boys.